Hi everyone, welcome back to Sports Kathi. I'm Rohit, and with me I have Vaishakh, Karan, and we also have Asjad from Cricket for Us 2.0. So you might remember him from our IPL videos. So he is here back again. So here we are, say 2 days away from the second start of the second test. Australia are leading the series 1-0 thanks to a sensational collapse they inflicted on the Indian batsman in the second innings. As we had mentioned in the daily review of the first test match, the test match was a very cagey affair, at least till the end of second day. If anything, going into the third day, India had a slight advantage thanks to the first innings lead of 53 runs. But then, what happened on the third day morning was something I have never witnessed. I'm sure most of us have not witnessed. Um, as an Indian fan for 20 years, I have seen few tough days, but this definitely was up there with the worst of the days we had as an Indian cricket fan. Indian batsmen, to be fair, did put up a real good fight in the first innings. So I don't know what exactly happened, or it's tough to explain what exactly happened on the third day morning. But I have to say that at the same time we have to give credit to the bowling also. Cummins and Stark were exceptional. They kept bowling the same line and length and maintained the pressure. That was some consistent bowling, or what you can call the bowling at the highest level. So definitely there's credit to be given to them also. One thing which I really want to say is that something which Kohli mentioned during the post-match interview was that the Indian batsmen didn't show intent, and that is the reason why we were not able to change the momentum of the game, or change the course of the collapse. I think to a point that is, I agree with that. I felt it was like the Indian batsmen just were following the course, or maybe the bowling was so good that the batsman couldn't. Anyways, but one thing that actually scares me is that that Kohli, who is someone who's actually really capable of doing that, is now leaving, and he will not be there for the rest of the series. So he has actually left Australia and come back to India. So he won't be there. So now that means now that mantle is upon someone else to show the way that they can be the one who can lead the way, or show the intent and change the momentum if required. So that will be something which should be we have to see. So just in simple way, it makes our job harder for Indian team. And when I say harder, yes, Mohammad Shami also got injured during the third day, or during the final day of the match, and the news is that he is out of the series. So he will not be there for rest of the series, and he will not be there for the Melbourne test. So we have couple of forced changes that's coming up. And having said that, there were some fringe players in the first test. I don't know what their position is, whether they will be playing the second test or not. So it'll be interesting to see whether we will be going, who we will be playing in the second test. That's something which is going to be a lot that will be discussed about, or at least the Indian team would have discussed about. The fans are discussing about. Something in that point is also that whether because we are 1-0 down the series, whether we will be going with say 5 bowlers, or whether we'll be going with 4 bowlers, or we'll going 7 batsmen. That's something which again has been a lot of discussion. Because one thing I want to mention before we go to the team lineup is that this series we need to ensure that we can at least pick a win, because that only then we can be alive in the World Test Championship. So we will need to win. So one way or the other, either the batsman showing intent, or we going with a more attacking bowling lineup. Whatever the way it is, we need to win a match. So we'll need to see what to be done, and I hope the Indian team has plans. Anyways, off to Vaishakh. He can take us through what he thinks will be the Indian team lineup for the second Test match. So Vaishakh, off to you.
Yeah, that's just good intro by Rohit for what happened. And what you said is that the absentees that are enforced on Indian team, especially Mohammad Shami and Virat Kohli, that's more important to see when we look at the lineup for the Indian team. And I would say that Prithvi Shaw might get dropped because his technique has rather been really disappointing. It's been so in the practice matches, and been so in the match against Australia at late as well, that he has really applied himself badly against the new ball. And so he might get dropped for KL Rahul, who might come as an opening batsman. And in the batting lineup, maybe Shubman Gill, who's planned as a middle order batsman as a Kohli replacement, might come in. But there are chances that Shubman Gill might come at number 5 and Ajinkya Rahane might step up as number 4, which gives him additional responsibility of playing top of the order. The other person who I think might miss out is Wriddhiman Saha, especially because he dropped those catches and is suspected to be the keeper who's holding on to catches, which I'm really doubtful about it, but there are chances that Rishabh Pant might play. And then you have Mohammad Shami missing, and our backup fast bowlers are Navdeep Saini and Siraj. Looking at the practice matches, it gives a sense that Saini had his moments and had his really bad moments as well. So it may be Mohammad Siraj who might, take up the opportunity, might be given the opportunity to play as a fast bowler. So in short, my lineup would be is Mayank Agarwal opens up with KL Rahul, and then you have Pujara, Rahane, Shubman Gill, Rishabh Pant, Hanuma Vihari, and Jadeja is back, so he should be playing. And then we have the 3 fast bowlers. The order of them don't matter. It should be it could be Umesh Yadav, Jasprit Bumrah, and Mohammad Siraj, or maybe it could be even Navdeep Saini. I would rather like to look about the next match is at Melbourne, which where it would be slightly more interesting, the Boxing Day Test match. And what do we expect at Melbourne? I think Asjad has planned a few things to say about Melbourne, isn't it?
Yeah, thank you, Vaishakh. So I completely agree with a lot of your points about the teams. So first thing I think India genuinely needs to do is take their catches. Their fielding in this entire tour has been quite bad, to say the least. It's improved slightly, but not as much as, as Indian fans, we would expect it to. And they dropped, I think, Labuschagne 3 times at least. There were very simple catches, but then India came back and took some really mad catches, like the one Virat Kohli took of Cameron Green. Which seems to show that they're practicing the difficult catches, but not the basics. So something I would think is they concentrate on the basics for sure. Another point I want to make is Rahane, as you clearly mentioned, is probably going to move up in the order to number 4. And therefore, he's been given more responsibility now as captain as well. I think he will need to step up. In the previous game, in the first test match, after that Virat Kohli wicket where Rahane kind of ran him out, India lost 16 wickets for 92 runs, which is abysmal, which is absolutely terrible, which means that he lost his confidence. Because of him losing his confidence, because he's going to be the captain moving forward, the entire team kind of crumbled. And that's something I think India really need to concentrate on, especially in this game. Rahane needs to step up and bat how we know he has been able to bat. His average over the past 2 years has been 50, 51 or 52 runs. And his last time, I think it was in 2014 or 15, where he had a really good tour of Australia. So maybe he needs to get that form kind of fixed in again. And another point I really want to make is, especially with regards to the unfortunate injury of Mohammad Shami, that absence is a shock, which therefore India had to make a couple of changes. So they'll probably have to bring in someone like, as Vaishakh mentioned, Mohammad Siraj is more likely than Navdeep Saini. And Siraj is more of a wicket-to-wicket bowler from what I've seen. He has better statistics than Navdeep Saini as well in the first-class format, so he'll be a good fit. I'm not sure how he will perform within this test match, but one thing he can do is something that India did not do as often in the previous game, is bowl fuller or pitch the ball up and let the ball swing, because there were a lot of short deliveries in the match by the Indian side comparatively to the Australian side. And the last point, which is to do with the bowling in a way, is that the pitch, usually the Melbourne pitch is considered a very, very flat ground. But what happened last year in the Australia-New Zealand game was that the curator made it quite bouncy and something that would give a bit of lateral movement for the paces and the spinners. So it's seeming like they're going for some sort of pitch similar to that, which means that India may initially struggle, but how they can fight that is one point that Virat Kohli kind of showed in the second innings of the previous game is you come out of the crease, you try and bat outside the crease, try and negate the swing as best as possible. And to be honest, leave a lot of deliveries. One thing that I saw India not doing enough in the previous game was not leaving enough and trying to play or be hard with their hands rather than, being a lot softer how Pujara usually plays. I think those are my points. Karan has quite a few more. So take away, Karan.
Thanks, Asjad. So before I get to the point where what I think India could do well to win the next Test match at Melbourne, the one thing which Rohit mentioned at the start was intent. What's very important is intent. Once you have the right kind of intent, then you come in with your performance and confidence, and everything starts coming in. But I feel that what India lacks at this point of time is intent. Now, even in the first Test when India was batting, you could see that the pitch was doing not doing too much of the movement, but the Australian bowlers had a consistency, and they were sure that if the ball reached this particular batsman, they stuck to that particular plan and they eventually got wickets. That is something I feel that Indian team lacks at this point of time. They keep trying different things with respect to short balls or so on and so forth, which doesn't allow them to be that consistent as the Australian bowling. And that is why Hazelwood and Cummins were successful even in the first innings. So keeping that in mind, India should try getting more nicks out of the Australian batsmen, because in the last Test match when New Zealand was batting, out of the 10 wickets they lost, 8 were catches. I mean, the 8 batsmen got out while throwing away their wickets to catches, out of which 5 were caught behind by Tim Paine. So understanding that aspect of the Melbourne pitch, the Indian bowlers need to extract that kind of bounce and length and trouble the Australian batsmen and try to get them to nick balls towards the keeper. That is the first thing I feel that intent needs to come in from the Indian bowlers. The next thing I feel that what India could do well or should make the most out of is the absence of David Warner. And because David Warner is one of the most threatening batsmen in the Australian lineup in all 3 formats, and knowing that he is not going to play the second match, we should make most of it by getting Matthew Wade and Joe Burns or whoever opens. Try to get them out early because they were clearly struggling in the first innings of the first Test as well. Get them out early so that you have Labuschagne and Smith onto the pitch early. Now, the other point which I would want to point out is that Steven Smith is deadly when it comes to Melbourne cricket ground, because he scored 908 runs in 12 innings with 4 centuries and 3 half centuries. Now, if you let a player like Steven Smith settle, it's going to be very hard. So that's one thing which India needs to make sure that whichever innings they're bowling, whether it's the first inning or the second innings, you need to get the openers out early. You need to get Labuschagne and Smith, and you need to start troubling them by containing the runs. That is what India did very well in the first test match, which agitated Smith and that got the nick of Ashwin. That is something which India needs to stick to a plan, contain their main batsmen, and hope that they make a mistake. Now, the other thing what I feel which will be in India's favors is the past result. When India last played against Australia at Melbourne, they won that game by 137 runs. And the main reason India did well in that game is because India batted first and they scored 443 runs, where Chateshwar Pujara played a very Chateshwar Pujara-like innings, scoring 106 out of 319 balls, tiring out the Aussie bowlers. And that is what he needs to do again. We understand that Kohli is absent and Rahane needs to step up, but we also realize that if India needs to win this match, it is Chateshwar Pujara who needs to stand up and play a similar inning where he scores 120 or 340 or 350 balls and he tires the Australian bowlers out. Because if they do that, India automatically gains a point in the mental battle, which is very important when it comes to Test cricket. Also, the good thing in the last time when India played in Melbourne was Jasprit Bumrah, who picked up 6 wickets in the first innings and 3 wickets in the second innings. He was also the man of the match in that game, where he picked up 9 wickets for 83 runs, which were his best match bowling figures. So keeping that in mind, I feel that if India tries to replicate that performance, keeping in mind that the pitch is a bit flat and doesn't move too much, India has a good chance. Also, another stat which is important is that the last 6 games that have been played in Melbourne, 2 have been draws and 4 have been won by the team batting first. So I really hope India gets the opportunity of batting first. They put up a good score and they start troubling the Aussie batsmen and they start making the Australian bowlers work hard. And then I think we'll have a good chance of getting back into the innings. So with all these points, I feel India will have a good chance. I will hand it over to Vaishakh now, who can conclude with respect to whatever he feels was going to happen.
Well, that was a well-researched work by all the three of you, Rohit, Asjad, and Karan. So, I hope we have done a good preview for the Melbourne Test, and as cricket fans, we are all looking forward to it and see what's happening on the Boxing Day in Australia. And as an Indian fan, myself and Rohit and Karan must be really crossing our fingers to expect India perform good as well. Let's see what happens. If you like our video, please like and please subscribe to our channel to watch more videos like this. Please comment if you have anything more to say about the Melbourne Test and what you're looking forward to. And thank you, Rohit, Karan, and Asjad again for this fantastic talk. And let's conclude over here. Until next time, stay safe. Goodbye.